Thank you so much for joining episode 8 of ExCo podcast, hosted by myself, Meredith Irvin, and my husband, Herschel Irvin.
That's me.
Today we're lucky enough to interview Maise. What's your last name?
Hernandez.
Maise, I knew that. Maise Hernandez. She works and is the owner of Cloud 17 Med Spa, and is also one of my beautiful clients. So I'm going to give the floor over to you, Maise. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me when you got into this industry, when your husband and yourself opened up your medical spa. Let's start with that. Like, okay. When did you start that? When did you open?
I think the journey to the aesthetic field started a little before we opened because, as we always talked about, my motherhood journey is a little different than most. We went through IVF a few rounds. And when I gave birth to my last daughter, a few months afterwards, my body just took revenge on me. I had cystic acne everywhere. I lost all my hair. I had gained a lot of weight and, stretch marks. And you name it, I went through it. So I started going to different med spas in the area. And they all offered different things, but nobody combined all the things that I was looking for. Mm-hmm. So they either were really great with machines, or really great with, aesthetics, or really like customer service, but none of them combined all of it. And then you fast forward a couple years, we purchased our building in Allentown, the second floor. The first floor was the medical office, which my husband and I built together. The second floor was vacant, and we knew all along what we wanted to do with it, but we wanted to build up capital because it takes money to build a business. So along came 2020 with the pandemic, and everything was shut down. I was staying home with my kids for homeschooling. We hired a manager to take over for me because I couldn't do everything. I tried to do everything. I failed miserably at both aspects.
Didn't you get fired?
I did get fired because I refused to give up my job because I love my job so much, but I love being a mom so much. So I was failing miserably at both. So my husband just looked at me and said, "I'll make the decision easy for you. You're fired."
I didn't understand what you were saying at first, but now I understand what you're saying. She actually technically did not get fired.
Well, she's hired, obviously.
Her and her husband have a company together, and the husband just said, make it easier just to stay home.
Just stay home. So the manager that took over along.
It went over my head. Yeah. That's why it went over my head. You two know because you know each other.
Right. And the manager he hired, her name is Lonnie, and she did a spectacular job. And then when I came back, I just couldn't tell someone, "Hey, thanks for being there for me and doing an amazing job. Now get out of here. I'm taking my job back." So we decided, hey, maybe it's a good time to start the med spa because now I'm free of responsibilities with the medical side. And the industry went up 400% because of the Zoom effect. That's what they called it, because people were on the Zoom all day and they were seeing themselves in the mirror all day. So although everything else went down, the industry went up. So that's when we started. But we wanted to make the spa different than anybody else's spa. We wanted to bring everything together that I was searching for when I was going for these services. And I truly believe we have actually had accomplished that because we have the best machines in the market. We have a great injector. He's been doing it since 2008. And we have amazing customer service. I know all my clients. I know their kids. I know vacations they're going on. I know, the intricacies of their life. And we offer them, a place that they can come and be comfortable because a lot of people, this might be the first time they're getting these services, and I know how nerve-wracking it is. So we help ease them through it.
One thing that I really liked when I got my lip filler and Dysport from Dr. Hernandez, one thing that I liked about it was that he took his phone, he took a picture of my lips, and he showed me how my filler was starting to migrate, outside of my lip. Whereas the place before, I would go in, I would get a full syringe into my lips, my tox, 60 units of tox everywhere, and I liked the experience of that, how it was in there, but I didn't realize, because I'm not staring at myself looking in the mirror all the time. Like, I liked the fact that your husband was what's the word I'm looking for? More conservative with it.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't about just like getting, more money in his pocket.
Yeah.
He was more about like, you don't necessarily need all of this. So, and this is why, like, let me take a picture of your lips. Like, this is what I see, and it made sense, and I appreciated that.
So you can always add. You can't take away.
Right. Well, you can, but it hurts, and it costs more money.
And then you have to take when you dissolve filler, you dissolve everything. You can't tell the dissolvent to just take a little bit away. It takes everything away, and you have to wait so long before getting more filler in. You can always add, but you can't take away. Number one. Number two, I think this whole industry as a whole is heading towards a more natural look, more making you. Just enhancing your beauty overall, not changing who you are. There's a lot of spas are like, this is the way I do it, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is what I'm used to, and so a lot of them don't listen to what their client wants. But when you come to us, we listen. We give you what you want.
What are all the services that you're...
I was about to say that.
Sorry.
You just stole my thunder. Like, I was sitting here, I was getting excited. I'm like, I have a question for her. I'm going to ask
steal
this
the floor,
question.
babe. It's all you.
But as I'm hearing you talk, right? And before the show started, I could hear, I could see this entrepreneur mindset.
Yes.
Like you can like looking around and you can see how you can grow off of something. Yeah. And your husband's very lucky because I could see like how you are in the environment that you are with your husband and the situations that you have, and that's how you guys are producing what you have now. You have an entrepreneur mindset. You know this already.
Yeah,
you can tell,
I got it from my dad.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I'll give a shout out to my dad. I got it from him. I think my entire family, with the exception of my older sister, we all are independent. Like we all own our businesses. And even my mom is, she and my dad have, brought us to this country as immigrants, and they, gave us a life we never would have had before. But yeah, I do have a background in science, and then I was a microbiologist, and then I went to sales, the time with my husband, pharmaceutical sales, and then I got my MBA. So all those aspects come into play when I do actually consult with clients, because I see the science behind everything I have. It is a little bit of sales. Obviously, we're all in this to make money.
Right.
We need to make a profit, or else I can't exist. And on top of it, I can manage the practice because I do have the business aspect. But to go back to your other question, the services we offer, we're very heavy with our machines. We have radio frequency microneedling, which we use constantly.
And what does that do?
It controlled injury to the collagen level is basically what it does. And it promotes your collagen to heal, to grow, as if you're going to the gym and you're ripping your muscle apart, and when you rebuild, it builds bigger and stronger. You're doing the same thing to the collagen level. And it concentrates primarily in the lower. It does do remodeling on the skin, but I found over time that we were lacking in that. It did something, but not as much as I wanted it to do. So hence comes the Tetra Pro that we just purchased. It's a CO2 machine that does micro-injury with heat to the top of the skin. It does
so
over time.
You.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
It's burning you.
It is not as bad as you think, because what it does is you see that the dots disperse unevenly, to be honest with you, and then some areas it'll burn, the other areas it'll leave them. So it's pseudo-fractional. So you don't feel the burn, but we do know.
Right, that I know.
We do know.
You don't want to torture anybody.
Yeah, we don't. I don't like to torture people. I numb for practically everything that I'm allowed to numb for. When it comes to laser, like hair removal, anything, you're not allowed to numb, so we don't numb. So that's what the two machines come together, because I felt like over time we needed something fractional for the skin. So we combine those two treatments all the time to give people, the rejuvenation they need for their skin, whether it's face, body, scars, stretch marks, anything of that nature. So that's the skin part. And then we have two machines that work well together, but not necessarily have to work. We call them their sister machines. One removes the fat permanently through heat. So it's not through freezing, it's through heat, and it's extremely targeted. So the paddle size are small, so I can make the client look whatever shape they want to look. And it's permanent fat removal because you're lipoing the fat muscle, so the fat cell, therefore your body reabsorbs it and eliminates it through whatever means it can. most people through their bowel movement. So you see like a little film of oil when you go number 2. But it's very highly targeted. And then the other machine is a muscle production machine. It does 55,000 exercises in 45 minutes. Whatever you need it to do, whether it's abdomen, your the glutes, the thighs, the arms, the calves. The only place the machine can't go on is anywhere near the heart because it changes the rhythm of the heart. So we can't do like the chest and we can't do the neck. But anywhere else we can do.
Okay.
What else do we have? We have laser hair removal machine with an IPL. And then we have one of the only machines that does acne, therapy with 3 laser treatments. So it downregulates the sebaceous gland. So it helps people with severe acne either see it completely eliminated or be able to be managed with just products at that point.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What does your husband do on the bottom? That's just like medical, right? Like patients.
So our first floor is medical,
Okay.
and I'm still a little involved in it because our office manager at one point had to move to Florida with her husband, so she works remotely, and then she comes in once a month for a week. So anything that needs to be addressed from a managerial standpoint in person when she's not there, I step in. So I'm kind of like pseudo assistant manager.
Okay.
I travel with him as well because he has multiple offices. But overall, what we do is primary care, addiction medicine, workman's comp, personal injury, like if you got injured in a car accident, he'll take care of you. And then he also does a medical marijuana certifications.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
How many employees do you have?
Downstairs we have, because only one doctor, so we run almost on a skeleton staff. So we have 5 employees downstairs, not including him.
Okay.
Upstairs I have 4 employees, not including me.
Okay. Cool.
So is this like 2 different, I wouldn't say businesses, but 2 different, entities inside one underneath one umbrella doing 2 different things?
Yeah,
right?
so he is the primary owner of most of them.
Mm-hmm.
And downstairs and upstairs are 2 different corporations with different tax IDs. And the reason we did that is because the services we offer upstairs, if somebody would come in and say, hey, do you take my insurance, for example? If I was credentialed with insurance companies, I would have to bill the insurance company, get rejected, and then be able to bill the patient. Mm-hmm. Which would be extremely hard if everybody wants to come in for Botox and fillers, and I would have to, bill the insurance, get rejected, and then be able to bill them.
Sure.
So we made it 2 different entities where I am not credentialed with any insurance companies on the 2nd floor.
I got PRP done. Talk about PRP.
Yeah, so a couple of things that he does is toxin and filler, but he also does PRP injections into the scalp for hair growth. Mm-hmm. You can also do PRP for the skin. If you just want to inject it directly into the skin, not do microneedling prior, you can do that. You can inject PRP into joints, which would be primarily on the 1st floor for healing. And now I think some people, not us, some doctors are experimenting with injecting exosomes into joints.
What's exosomes?
Like stem cells.
I need that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's
a little off-label, so I really can't talk about that. But some doctors are. We would have to do the research and see the literature and maybe have him, see other doctors doing it first.
And what's he up to right now?
Right now, he is training injectors for toxin and fillers.
Very nice.
In New York, PA.
Okay.
So he's a medical director at a spa up there, and then he goes up there to train and sign off on charts. I once a month will travel with my machines up there as well. We'll take care of the clients up there.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do your, how do you find balance now? Like, your kids are a little bit older, right? Mm-hmm. How are you able to bring in, everybody's always talking about the work-life balance. And for me, I don't have that because I'm only, 2 or 3 years in. So I'm just I have to work.
Yeah.
And I guess, I see you moving, but how do you have a work-life balance or no?
If anybody ever tells you that they have 100% work-life balance, they're lying out of their mind. It's just one day more kids and one day I'm more work.
Right.
In the beginning of the office when we were setting it up, my kids were on the floor on blankets eating dinner where I was painting and putting furniture together. We tried to involve them. I'm extremely lucky with this matter because how our building is set up, the first floor is the medical, the second floor is the spa, the third floor is actually residential.
Oh.
We weren't able to rent it out because of HIPAA issues. If somebody wanted to go up there, they would have to travel through all offices to get up there. So for all legal purposes, we couldn't rent it out. So what we did was we turned the bedroom into an office for billing. And there's a living room, there's a kitchen, there's a full bathroom. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so when my kids, I have to work late, or me and him have to both work late, we would take them with us, and they would spend time on the third floor. We have,
just
an
hanging out.
area for crafts and TV. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow I have to go in because his patients today got moved to tomorrow. So we're actually working on a Sunday, so we'll be taking them with us. But that was initially what we would do. I try to find as much balance as I can between the two. And then you also have to factor yourself in there, too, because you have to have some self-care in the middle of all that. We try to involve them. They're a little older. We try to involve them in everything we do. But one day I work late, and I don't see them that much. And a couple of days later, I'm with them all day, and I'm not working. But...
Are you still homeschooling?
No, they went back to school. Oh, no, I give credit to teachers. I think they should be paid more than anybody else in this world.
Yeah. I do.
What they do every day, I cannot do. But the thing is, what I tell my husband all the time, because he always gives me an opportunity to stay home. He's like, you don't have to work, you can stay home. And I tell him all the time, I said, I want to give my girls...
It's in your nature.
It's in my nature, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I want to show my girls that they can do both.
That's right.
I want them to know that they can do both, and they can do both well. If they choose to be home with their kids, I want it to be their choice. And if they want to work and have a family, I want them to know they can do it.
I like that.
So do I.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, sometimes all about work, sometimes all about kids, and very, 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 very few times it's about me.
Yeah.
Because I love to garden, and when the garden is in full blown, I can only take care of the garden.
Your garden is impressive.
Thank you.
She was showing me pictures. It's insane.
Well, it's also a metaphor because it reflects your nature.
Yeah, thank you.
You take something and you can create something from that, and you have to, as you do physical garden, you can see, as you do the same thing with your business, you watch over it, you're, watering it here, you're pruning there, and, you can't help it, but you just I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm wondering, you're actually almost like a coach, because we were talking about our other coach earlier, and you're like a coach, and I'm wondering if you're selling yourself short. I understand that you may be busy in what you're doing, but you have a gift.
Thank you.
And, sometimes, God gives us these gifts to, be able to just be a blessing, in the world that we have. And I'm wondering, do you see yourself outside of, your environment that you have now, of helping others, like you said, it seems like you want your daughters you want to be a really good role model with them, right? But to also help out other females, or maybe males too, but... I see yourself as a strong woman, and I'm wondering, do you see yourself helping out other women to, say, yes, you can. You can, come from somewhere and then be up here. You can get there.
So I come from a culture where women are just supposed to be mothers and wives, and I had to break free of that shackle, and I married outside my culture, and I'd love to help women realize their worth, because it took me forever. I wish I would have had someone help me along the way. But when I think about helping people the most is how I overcame. Yes, I overcame that part, but the one thing that I'm most proud of overcoming is my depression and my anxiety. I think that's where the garden kind of came in, because they say like when you put your hands in soil, it's like taking antidepressant. So always my nails
I
are
didn't
always
know that.
my nails are always dirty.
Your
'cause
hands,
my hands are always-
your
yeah,
feet,
and your
feet
hands.
too. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so they, it releases serotonin in your brain, the soil. So that's where the whole garden came about. But I love the metaphor of growing something. I really thought about it that way. I guess I do that. I didn't realize I did that. But that's where the whole garden came in because I had no hobbies. I had no time for myself. And the garden came about because I wanted to do something for myself but not feel guilty being away from my family. So I was doing something for me but also producing
Veggies,
food for my kids.
Right.
Healthy food, organic food, and teaching them where food comes from. It's not just, it doesn't just appear in the grocery store, it grows and they're all into it now, where food comes from and where, helping me in the winter plan for the spring. We look at seed catalogs and we try to figure out what we're going to eat, and it helps them eat it too because they decided that we're going to grow it, So
I need to pick your brain about that more then.
Yeah.
When, we're off.
but I'm growing the garden every day. I just planted fruit trees.
Fruit?
Yeah, I bought 2 apples and 2 pear trees. They're going to go in the ground this weekend.
So they can grow during the winter?
Well, I love to plant in the fall, especially trees, because I don't have to worry about watering them so much. They go dormant in the winter, and then they come back in the spring.
Oh, now are you planting them as trees, or are they starting as seeds?
No, trees. Seeds will take about 10 years.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 2 of them are dwarf, semi-dwarf, so they won't grow too big.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That is.
We went from aesthetics to gardening.
Well, I mean, it's part of it.
It all rolls up into one now.
Yeah, growing something. Yeah.
I'm very proud of you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I can relate, but I cannot relate as I'm a male and you're a female. But I can relate when you talk about culture and, where a woman, culturally, is supposed to be in a house. Because also with, in Black culture, it's almost the same long ago.
Yeah.
And where, the woman is subjective to the house. But I'm not debating this or arguing this, but I'm saying the same thing as far as in even in the woman's position of herself in the house, right? The man comes home and the man is still attentive to his wife. Like the woman, she speaks, the man listens.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like it's her domain, it's her environment. The man comes in and he surrenders to all that. That place is where he finds his peace. But I see how you blossomed out of that, right?
Thank you.
I don't look at it like a curse, by the way.
No,
So,
I tell him all the time. I tell him that he gave me a house and I turned it into a home.
Right. But I look how like you've just been like a blossoming flower, just from the house to the business. Like your husband, like I'm hearing it, and hopefully he understands. What's your husband's name, by the way? Danny.
Dr. Hernandez.
Yes.
Dr. Hernandez.
Yeah, my sister had a hard time saying she could call him Danny in front of people. I'm like, listen.
When you're at the spa, you have to say
She goes,
Dr.
I can't transition. I'm like, what do you think I do all day long,
Dr. Hernandez.
I go, honey, and I go to work and I go, Dr. Hernandez.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
But over time, I've learned to click that switch on when I'm there. He's a doctor of the practice. He's my boss at the end of the day. But at home,
But we don't know who the real doctor is.
Oh,
I'm just saying, we all know. We all know who the real
call me
doctor is.
half a doctor because I go to conferences with him all the time and I listen to his lectures and, I learn. And then sometimes he'll quiz me out of the blue, like as a joke, and I would give him the right answer, and he just gets shocked. I'm like,
he probably is
15 years of
so much more
listening.
in love with you too.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I would love to meet Dr. Danny. Just
Yeah.
see,
He's
they're probably
awesome.
like a yin and yang, and that's how they really connect and they
We-
flourish in what they do in their life.
We definitely fill each other's gaps. I'm definitely the introvert of the relationship, and he's the extrovert. If it wasn't for him, I'd probably never see daylight.
You're introverted?
Oh, yeah.
See, I wouldn't have thought that.
You never thought that?
No, I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I would have thought the opposite. Yeah.
Social settings drain me. When I have a social setting, I'm great at them. I love them. But afterwards, I need my alone time afterwards. Social settings ignite him. They fill him up. They energize him. So he loves to go to, because it gives him energy. But we both know that about each other. He knows if I go to social settings, I love them. I love being there with him. I love my job. I love talking to people. But when I come home, I need my peace.
Mm-hmm.
And he understands that. He gives me that time. Like, I know we went to a couple events in a row, and he knows the following weekend, I can't go anywhere. Like, I just want to be home with my kids. I want to be in my kitchen. I want to be in my garden.
So we're talking about like a mass amount of people. Like if you had in your environment, if you were around like, 5, 10, 15 people, you're saying that when you're, teaching or you're talking, you need to unwind at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's a part of being introverted.
I don't know if it's introverted so much. I think I've been called a
Extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert or something?
like a social sprinter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really great in social settings, but after a while, I need to, like...
You're exhausted.
Like,
So Danny can still go, like
Yeah.
after he's, done, he's on fire. Like
yes. So he'll
and
go
he's
to a
wandering.
party, and then he'll go out and find his friends afterwards and, go out with them afterwards. And then the next day, he'll want to go see other people. Like me, I'm like, no. Well, I'll go to a lot of things with you, but afterwards, I need to be alone.
I'm not mad at you. Like,
I was telling my little sister how I would love to be able to retire Herschel and have him work for me, and she's like, I don't think working with a spouse is a good idea.
Yeah.
Do you have any issues working with your husband?
we can edit this out, just so you know. So we can answer now.
So the only times I've ever had a problem was when it was things beyond my control. So again, when I was going through IVF and I was injecting myself with a lot of hormones.
Well, that's different because you're not
I got
yourself.
fired a couple of times because I blew up on people. Like, it was either me or the employees kind of a thing. And he knew it wasn't me. He knew it was the hormones. So I was let go a couple of times. When I disagree with him about certain things, like, it's really hard to just say, okay, you're the boss. But I would have to say 99% of the time I love working with him. And he loves working with me.
Right.
It's just... have you, I'm sure you two are the same way. Like, when you guys are in the same vicinity, it's just like the chatter in your head goes away. Like, there's peace when you're around that person. It's home. Mm-hmm. So I get to have my home with me at work and at home.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Isn't he whisking you away soon?
I'm hoping for my birthday he's whisking me away.
You
I
better.
don't know. He knows I don't like surprises, so he better not. I like to at least know how to pack, but, I've learned along the way to be okay with surprises.
How did you and him meet?
I was a pharmaceutical rep, and he was a doctor. Mm-hmm. So,
I knew that, but I wanted...
Scandalous.
Yeah.
But that's how we met, and just...
The rest is history.
The first time I met him, I never thought I would believe in love at first sight, but I did fall in love with him when I first met him.
Yeah, and he knows that, right?
He knows that, and he the same with me.
Yeah.
And he's been my person for 15 years.
I would have loved to be the fly on the wall. And two locked eyes,
Yeah.
and they were like,
I know.
You're the
I
one.
know.
Look at this hot little
I know.
pharmaceutical rep, and look at this
I
hot
know.
doctor. Like,
Yeah, but it's been definitely a ride, like ups and downs. I remember our dinner after our 1 year anniversary, I went to buy something to wear, and the woman helping me find it, she said, marriage is valleys and hills. You just hope you have more, hills than valleys. And right after that, we went through the most massive valley of our marriage. So we were able to survive it. It's it's great to be with someone when things are going well. It's when you're with someone when things
say
are
it all
not
the
going
time.
well.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
So you want to, things can be always pretty, but let some
Yeah.
SHIT happen in
Yeah.
your life and see how you work through
Yeah.
it. And it's about how you work through it.
Yeah.
So
You have a Syrian and Puerto Rican in the same house where all fights are
who's a Syrian?
I am.
You're a Syrian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's Puerto Rican. So
did you think
our
she
fights
was?
are, yeah.
I was going to ask her if she was like Latino or something,
Oh,
but the
okay.
Syrians, they're
yeah, they're from Syria.
Yeah.
There's no
Syria. Where are you from?
I'm from Syria.
Why'd you say there's no
I
Syria?
thought Assyrians did not have like a. I could be wrong. I thought they didn't have a country. I thought they didn't have.
There's a country, yeah, but most, there's Syria.
Okay, I need to learn because I listen to Patrick Bet David on YouTube. He's an Assyrian. He talks about this sometimes.
Assyrian or Syria?
Assyrian.
No, that was like a long time culture, Assyrians back in the day, yeah.
Okay.
But Syrians, yeah, I'm
Okay.
Syrian.
I apologize.
It's
That's
okay.
what I said.
No worries. No, I came here when we were 11, 12.
So
I lived here more
what
than
country is that near?
Lebanon.
Okay.
So Syria is between Lebanon, Turkey, Iraq, and Jordan.
So there's a difference between Assyrians and Syrians?
Assyrians, I believe, and I know they'll
Are
call
you
me
saying
on there.
Assyria?
Assyria with A is like a culture from like a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time
So when
ago.
you go to museums, they say, Assyrian culture.
Yep.
But Syria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Syria.
Damascus particularly is where we're
Right. So
from.
Assyrians do not have.
No, that's the culture from. I don't even think they exist anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they said there's like 1 million of them left. It's like about 1 million.
Is it?
Yeah.
And
And-
I have to learn too about that.
I'm sorry, because
You
that's what I
think
thought she
would
was
know.
saying.
You
Patrick
think I would
Bet-David
know.
is
Yeah.
Assyrian. He's like only 1 million of us left, and their culture and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, but after the Civil War, a lot of people dispersed from the country, so maybe there's not much left in the country anymore.
Okay, so like we got off track there, but I want to go back to you because
Okay.
it's really about you and what you do on your second floor. So, what can you say to a younger version of yourself that wants to just be aspired to do something like you do? What do you tell that younger self?
To wake up every day and do the best job you can do, and things will happen. A lot of times, being a business owner, one day you're on top of the world, and a minute later, the world's on top of you. So that's how like a business owner is. One minute I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm doing a great job. Next minute I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do?
I'm the same way.
It's just to enjoy the ride, really. It really is a ride, and it's not, you have to enjoy both parts, right? Because you can't enjoy your successes if you haven't had failures.
So I'm also talking about like young women and also maybe men too, more so young women that go through some hell, right?
Yeah.
That have insecurities or having like issues that they see physically in their own homes, their own environments. Young girls, like, what do you say to those young girls or young men that they're looking for a way out and like they have the struggle going on? Like what would you say to inspire them?
To believe in themselves, really. To take back the power. Because, I'm dealing with someone in my life right now that has complete no power over her life. And the only thing I can say to her is that you need to take control of your life back. And just do whatever you can to take that control back. Don't let other people dictate what you can or you cannot do, or what you cannot feel. Take it back. Do whatever you can to get out of the situation. And it's not going to be easy. It's never easy, really. Just to believe in yourself and keep moving forward. Keep going, like the song. Just keep going, like Dory.
Yes, yes. Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
I just keep telling myself every day, just keep going every day.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming.
Do you still feel that you have those feelings of, like, I know you said like you have like the successes and then you feel like the world is on top of you. Do you feel like the gardening and stuff helped with your, depression and anxiety? Do you feel like you're like in control of all that now? Because as someone that is like coming off of an SNRI that's been on something for like ever, like, do you feel like you're pretty much in control of all that now? And
am I in control of it? Probably in control of it, but did it go away? No. So I'm always I'm as protective of my mental health as I'm protective of my children.
okay.
I'm a mom. I protect them like no other, but my invisible child that comes along with me is my mental health.
Yeah.
I'm very, very protective, even to my husband. When he steps over the line or like I feel like he's causing me to have anxiety, I'm just like, stop. You are threatening my mental health right now. And then he knows better and he steps back, whatever the case may be. Like, I didn't get a report done in time, or I didn't do something, or I neglected to do something, and he comes at me and I'm like, nope. Mm-hmm. My mental health is at stake here, or I have a hard cut line time of when I stop thinking I try to stop thinking about work, but you really can never
Oh,
stop.
no, I know.
At least stop talking about work, because again, that's one of the things that come with marrying your business partner.
Right.
Is that you have business meetings every single minute of the day.
Right. No, seriously, like I'll be working on her hair and like she'll like have them on speaker and they're talking about work and it's like
Does she
like,
literally say, stop right now, you're messing with my mental health? Or?
Not in front of you, at
no,
least.
she would never do that in front of me or anybody else.
But if he like in private, or if he like treats me like if he yells at me like he would yell at a normal employee, that's when I say
he doesn't yell.
He doesn't yell, but like when he
She knows when he's yelling. He
Right.
might not seem like he's yelling to
not so
normal
much
people,
yelling, like
Because you know him so well.
asking, like he would asking me for something, like he would ask an employee, and there's only so much, like, and I know sometimes I'm messing up and I try to fix it, but sometimes when there is so much pressure, I have to like say, just step back. I need to decompress. I need to take care of my mental health. But when you're married to your business partner, it's a business meeting every single minute of the day.
Isn't a marriage a business?
Yeah, but
Kind of.
Yeah.
Would you say so? Marriage
No.
is a business? I would think so.
I wouldn't say marriage is a business. I mean, it is definitely a work. You
Work.
definitely work it for sure. You have to work it. And I was hearing you saying something like, just speaking to you, because I was just thinking about our earlier conversation, and I was going through something mentally, and I should have talked to you first, because if I would have said, hey, listen, stop, like.
As soon as he got in the car, he apologized. He's like, I could be a better husband. I'm like, thank you. I forgive you.
But I was going through something earlier
Yeah.
today, and she was, it was about one of the kids not cleaning, and and in the morning time, I made sure to say something to her about, hey, listen, like, I know that the kitchen's not clean yet.
No, you said I got it.
I got it, but because I said I did say I got
got
it.
it.
As far as like, and I'll handle the children while you're going off and you're working at the salon. I got it. I will handle conversating with one of our children to make sure that they get the job done. Unfortunately, she came home and the job wasn't done because my daughter and myself, we were out running errands. She went to practice, and the first thing that she said to me was like, make sure you remind her that she's got to clean the kitchen.
No, I said make sure to have Gracie clean the kitchen when she gets home.
And that kind of made me twinge a little bit. Just be like, I just got them saying I got it. Like I just I need the time. Allow me to just work it. I understand, like, you saw it, right? I understand you saw
Since
it, and it's not
Wednesday.
feeling right. But I was looking for you to trust me, because that's why I said it in the morning time. Like, I got this. Like, I already know that you're probably going to see something later.
Yeah.
I was ready to interview you by myself without him.
So I just said, like, I got this. And then, like, when she said something to me, and, like, it was like, I felt pressure, you know what I mean? And I should have talked to you first, because I was like, hey, listen,
This is intervening with my mental health.
This is messing with my mental health a little bit, just a little bit. So maybe if I said that, she would recognize it. She's like, okay, let me back up. Let me, because at least he knows that this is bothering me. But even if it's not like a he's right, she's right thing, right? This is my wife. You know what I'm saying? So even if I'm trying to like fight for penis in the house, like, it's still my wife. And
It's not like a gender role thing, though.
But it's what we talk about that all the
It's
time.
not.
It's all about gender roles.
No, it's not.
Anyway,
Okay,
it's
well
a little joke that we have. We were listening to this conversation. I don't know who we were talking to about this.
Your cousin.
Yeah.
Was it cousin?
It was
Gender
your
Was it family
roles,
member? But it wasn't. It's not my cousin. No, it was some guy. Like,
well,
no,
on Facebook.
No, it was my niece's husband.
Yes, that's what it was.
That said something about I should know about gender roles, and I'm like, no, this is new. This is a younger guy, super religious, by the way, but. He said something to me about, well, you should know about what gender roles are, and I'm like, wait a second here. What do you mean by that? Like, and he's like, don't play dumb. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, I really want to understand what you're saying, and we can't do this through text messaging.
Yeah.
What you're saying about, like, so I understand that there's a man and a woman. I understand that, but when you're saying roles, now we're getting touchy here, right?
We're talking about trad wives.
We're touching on some grounds, like whatever goes on in your house, God bless you, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you and your wife came together and you both agreed on something that your wife says, okay, I'll do this over here, and then you go do that over here. I don't know if you want to label that as gender roles, right? But it made me twinge a little bit, because I have a little bit of PTSD from how I was raised because I grew up in an apostolic faith religion. It's a form of Christianity, but the wife is like you said when you talk about the culture thing. The wife is a slave to the husband, right? It's whatever the husband sets abroad in the house. The wife is subjective to that, and I'm against that, right? Like I don't. The woman should feel happy. Is she happy, right? Is she happy in doing that, right? If she's cooking and cleaning, and is that her happiness? Is that her joy? Because like you said, you have a love language about you. I wouldn't find someone like you with your love language and your nature to be subjective to the house. Like, how could you grow? How could you make things grow outside of the house, or even in a business venture if your husband is the dictator of everything, right? You two both have to compromise, right? He has to see the beauty that you have inside of you, and he has to and be attentive to that, or he's not going to grow. No. It's going to be like butting heads. So going back to her and I, like, even if I think that I'm right, I can evaluate myself on a personal level and say, hey, look, where did you go wrong in this situation, right? Could you work at having more patience for your wife, right? In that situation, you don't need to blow up at her or make her feel less than, right? So even if I think that I'm right, I'm telling her I'm wrong, and that's the way that it should be because I'm her husband, right? I'm her safe place too. And I want her to always know that, she should feel safe around me. And when he said something about gender roles, I made jokes because after we hung up the phone with him, I was like, you know what? I'm interested in this gender role thing now.
Like, how is there gender roles if I'm working 6 days a week, like all day, and then like what gender roles? Do you want me to come home at 8 o'clock at night and cook dinner and then like clean? Like what is
So there is a such thing as a narcissist.
Oh God, I know too many of them.
So this is the blessing that you are, because there are a lot of women out there that cater to men that are narcissists because they just want to be in a relationship, and while they're in the relationship, the man is just it's all about him. He wants to be served rather than be of service. Right. And men lose themselves because they don't, and that's the true meaning and purpose of what men should be, right? Of being a service to their family. They're not supposed to be dictators and do as I say type thing. It's just, how can I help you? How can I be of service, right? And men, I think a lot of religious men get caught up in this hierarchy thing, and they need to be G-checked, as I say. Like, they wouldn't like me much in the church because I would say, okay, well, what was Jesus like? Because I don't see any of you guys being like this Christ. You know what I mean? If anything, I see you guys being like the lawgivers. Like, I don't know if you know anything about religion. I don't know if you're religious or anything. We can get into that. But, lawgivers were saying, like, this is the laws right here, and these are the laws that you must obey. And if you don't obey these laws, I'm going to stone you, right? And that's what to me, anyway, in my opinion, most men struggle with that. So, anyway, I know I just went down this road.
No, I'm here for it.
Yeah, no,
I get it.
So,
we at home, I tell him all the time, I said, you want me to stay home and cook and stuff? I'm not going to work. If I'm going to go, I walk out the door with you and I come home with you. Therefore, everything at home is split between the two of us.
That's how I am too.
And that's how we've been doing it. Sometimes it's more me than him. Sometimes more him than me. And we have the way of talking to each other, going, look, I look at him sometimes, I say, I have nothing in me. Like, I had a hard day, I have nothing in me. He's like, got it. So he's the one putting the kids to bed. He's the one feeding them. He's the one, making sure everything is done. And sometimes he comes home and he goes, I have nothing in me. And I take over. But now he's...
Well, both of you guys at the same time can say, both of us have nothing in me.
Yeah,
Let's order pizza or something.
Basically, that's a take-out night, and the dishes stay in the sink until the next morning. And
we've been doing that a lot lately.
We fall asleep on the couch.
We have been. We've been ordering takeout. Like
last night we actually had, instead of me cooking, which I make most of our meals because I love to cook, not because I have to, just because I love to cook.
Do you cook Syrian foods?
No, my mom is so good at cooking Syrian food that
I don't feel like you're as good.
I will never compare. So I've learned to cook everything but.
Oh my gosh, you're selling yourself short.
We talk about it all the time. Like, somebody needs to put this on paper. Like, if something were happened to my mom, because we're none of us are here forever.
Yeah.
Like, none of us will be able to cook like her.
So you have a cookbook.
Everybody looks at me to get it on paper. I'm like, why me?
Do you know one of the first things, I'll bring this up. one of the first things, like we were dating, and I said, "Do you have a
Oh
cookbook?"
my gosh, here we
I was
go.
asking a question, like, "Do you have a cookbook?" I don't know where I was
No,
watching
he's like,
something.
"Can you start writing your recipes down?" And I'm like, "No." And he said, "Why?" And I'm like, "Cause that's not how I cook. Like,
Yeah.
I cook what I think is gonna taste good in
Yeah.
the moment, like that's just how I cook."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Well, how are you gonna remember like what we liked?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
No.
I don't know.
But even like, okay, so the reason why I brought it up, because I think about, like, again, culturally things, like you mentioned something about, what's your aunt or something, your mom?
My mom.
And back in the day, depending on certain cultures, they would make this cookbook, right? And they would write down all the ingredients and all that stuff because they were going to pass it down to their daughter,
Yes.
right? And then their daughter would take it and like, okay, this is what my mom did, and this is how I remember things, and this is what I'm cooking and stuff like that. But it could be for men too. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes, like, if a woman is going off to work, the man comes home early and he's like, all right, I want to make this, and I don't remember how to make it. Instead of calling her up, like, I can now cook this meal, and it's quick, it's something easy, and we all love it. You know what I mean? Instead of the man coming home is like, oh, I don't know what to make. Like, it's just so stressful.
I'd say none of my cook, the way I cook is in recipes, but I do have my Thanksgiving Day binder. Like, my recipes are in there for Thanksgiving.
Maybe I should start writing.
But that's it, because it's my favorite holiday, because it's the only one that's.
Are you hosting again this year?
Yeah.
She's always hosting, and then like
And
she's
you would
like,
think I would not,
I
but
know,
I
and like
do.
she's like she's such a good host. Then she's like, oh, I don't want to host, and then she's like, I'm hosting.
I'm doing it again. So I'm hosting Thanksgiving again this year, but I kind of put my foot down. I said, last year, I every single weekend of December, we were hosting something or another. And I look back at the December, and I did nothing with my kids. We didn't make bake cookies. We were in like hot chocolate. Nothing of the things you would think about doing in December. And I just had this moment where I thought, oh my God, I only have a few more Christmases with them where they believe in this stuff. And I just wasted one of them. Aww. And I just looked down and said, listen, we'll go back to hosting. We'll go back, but when they're older, like next couple Christmases, I would like to keep the whole month just to ourselves. Like, I don't want to host anything for anybody because I don't want to take that time away from them. Again, balance, right? So I'm hosting a huge Thanksgiving for everybody.
Who's everybody?
You too?
This is what we do in our culture. Like, who's everybody? Pressure.
He's so bad. Like, I'm like, is that literally like what black people do? Like, he just invites himself, or like,
No, I don't
like,
mind. Some people are actually on the waiting list. Like, I do such an amazing job with Thanksgiving. The last year we kicked it up the notch, and we had a turkey cook-off between my husband and I.
Oh wow, who won? You?
I did.
So did one do deep fry and one do bake, or did one?
I baked and he smoked.
Ooh, that's
and you won?
Because that's the first time he was actually doing it, and then he didn't put herbs and spices on the turkey.
Oh, wow.
It was just like the turkey. I brined it for him. I took care of him. Like, okay, anything else you want me to do it? Because I was trying to make it fair. I really was. And he said, no, nothing but olive oil. I was like, all right, you're on your own. And when he brought it in, everybody's like, the smoky flavor is great, but I wish it had more herbs, more flavor. And this year he's gonna do that, and I think I'm gonna lose.
So do you guys have like a panel of people that taste the turkey?
My
and
family.
Okay.
At
the end,
not
you guys.
very fair.
So it's not very fair. It's your family.
90% because he's an only child.
Oh, okay.
And he only has his mom as a from his side that comes to our Thanksgiving, and his cousins, and they all have their own family. So
you know how you judge it? You put both of them out, right?
Yeah.
And you don't say which is which?
And you guys, and then allow the people to silently pick which one they like, and you'll see which one is eaten more. And that's the winner.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do? You guys do like a small wager or something? Like, who has the best turkey? Because I'm trying to give you ideas.
Not prize.
Pride?
Pride, not prize.
So that
I was the winner last year. He's trying to take that title from me.
So you can slap him on the butt and say, I got that turkey. Like, bah, I got that turkey.
I got it this year. So
I got this year. Okay.
No, but this year he's definitely going to be.
He's probably going to get a little pumped up now. He's like, you know what? I know your tactics, and he's a doctor, so he's probably trying to break it down. Oh God,
yeah. He's all about the science behind it, but I think he's going to win this year. But I got to let him have one.
Okay.
I think
Well,
we'll let
if
him
we
have
do
it.
get the invite, no pressure, but if we do get the invite, I would be
Absolutely.
a fair judge. I will try both, and then I'll let you both know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be very
I do
honest.
everything from scratch, literally everything from scratch.
Okay.
Wow. So this just popped into my head. For my clients that are interested in PRP for hair loss, they need at least 3 sessions, right?
3 sessions, yeah, minimum, before you make a decision after that. And you can decide between full head or half head, because
Right.
some women only are in the front, not in the back. Like me, for example, I wasn't only lost the hair up in the front. You do my hair, so it's primarily up in the front where I lost it, or you can do the whole head. And then 3 treatments, and then you would want to take a supplement to make sure that what you're doing is not lost, like Nutrafol or Vivascalp. But the great thing about our office, which is different than any other med spa in the area, is that before we even do that, we will do blood work to make sure that you're not going up against a hill. Because if you have any thyroid issues, there's your problem. That causes hair loss. If you have any other issues, that could cause hair loss. So until you fix those issues, whatever you do is just going to be wasted money. Now, you still have to do the PRP to kick it up a notch, but, why do that if you're just going to lose the hair anyway?
Right. So for you, I'm taking a class tomorrow, and it's going to help around the hairline more. So we could talk about that then.
So I know with you, it was perfect with my hair, because I remember the first time you did my hair extensions, you didn't know anything about me. So the next time I came in, you realized, hey, you have a pool, your hair dries naturally whether you like it or not. So I'm going to do your extensions differently for your hair than I did it before.
Right.
And you have no idea how much I appreciated that, because you took my lifestyle into consideration when making a decision. And that shows how much of a professional and perfectionist you are.
Oh, thank you.
You have no idea.
I'm
And
sure.
I see that in you too.
Thank you.
And she sells herself short.
She does.
And I made mention, to her that, when I said, Meredith, when I'm looking at you, I see that you really care. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just about money, right?
sometimes.
She's very anal about, she wants to make sure she's doing a quality job.
For somebody in the industry, I see that, right? Because the things that I look for, you brought to the table. The professionalism, the knowledge, and then one thing that most people don't take into consideration, which I do for my clients, is their
Their beauty budget?
budget, definitely, but their lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Budget is definitely important, which is why I always appreciate when my clients, I tell them all the time, I am not the cheapest, but I'm not the most expensive. But the one thing about me that's different is I appreciate every dollar you spend with me, because I know how hard it is to spend money on something like our industry, because we're not really necessary thing for them to spend money on.
Of course not, we're luxury.
We're luxury.
So I have more questions now. So I heard you say earlier that you went around to different med spas when you were younger, and you figured out a way to do it yourself. And and what I'm hearing you is you want to make sure that client that you're working on, that you want to make sure you do a quality job for them, because like you said, they could have other things elements going on inside of them, and you want to, so you send them off, make sure you check out their blood work, and I bet you there's med spas that don't even do that because they want the money, they want to get you in, get you out, and you just seem someone that's meticulous as she is, and you guys might not be perfect, but you guarantee something that I will care for you. I want to make sure that you do the right thing over here, and then I'm gonna do the right thing over there. So I appreciate hearing both of you what you're saying. It's not a selling point for me. You guys, when I'm hearing you guys, you guys can just work for yourselves and everything's going to be all right. You're going to have people draw to you no matter what. So I don't need to sell anything. I'm just letting people know you have 2 good human beings, right? That's what it's all about. Being good human beings.
Absolutely.
And caring about other human beings, and that will just naturally bring the money in for you because you're just doing something naturally.
You definitely have to take the person in front of you into consideration.
So, Mike, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the respect thing. So, when you have clients coming in and they feel they think that there's too much money or you're not doing enough, how does that make you feel? How do you handle that situation?
When they think I charge too much,
right.
Well, at the end of the day, I try very hard not to put myself in somebody else's wallet. So someone's priority is different than other people's priorities and where they spend the money. So when somebody tells me I charge too much, I make sure they know I really do not charge the highest in the area, but I make sure they know what I bring to the table that's beyond somebody else. I know you can find my services somewhere else cheaper. I guarantee you, if you try hard enough, you will. But here is what I give you in return. Number one, I have a medical doctor on staff at all times. He's walking around. There's no other med spa in the entire area that will have an MD walking around, making sure everything is okay, making sure if I need to consult for something beyond my knowledge. Because a lot of people in the industry think that they know more than they should, or they advise on something that they shouldn't advise on. I don't step beyond my line of where I'm supposed to be at. So if I need to bring a consultation from an MD, I do on the spot. That's different than any other med spa. And what I do also is I let them know that I appreciate every dollar that comes in, that they're just not any client walking in and out. They're not just a number to me. That over the day, or at the end of the day, I appreciate them, and that 90% of my customers are actually returning clients. I am not a one-time. I charge you a crap load of money, and all of a sudden I never see you again. That's not my MO. My MO is to keep you coming back because you see the value behind every single dollar you spend. And not to say some clients are not happy with the results, but I do my best to make sure that they are. For example, if we do like microneedling session or a CO2 session and they're not happy and I see that I didn't deliver what I promised, then they're getting a free treatment.
That's how I am too. Like I don't give refunds, but I'll do everything I can to like make it right. So
right now we're toying around with the idea of having a guarantee for a service. The only thing that's stopping us right now is the idea that I would have people take advantage of it. But
well, do they have to know that, or do you have to sell that? Like, do you have to say like we guarantee our services, or can you just have it internalized that you guarantee your service? Like, just let them know, hey, look, we'll figure this out together, and we can go down this road without telling them, because I do think if you put that seed out there, you will have
I actually do
clients.
think you're right. If I just put that seed out there and say, hey, listen, I will do whatever it takes to make you happy, I think that would go a long way instead of just having like a blanket guaranteed statement, because you really can't be objective when it comes to our industry.
I know.
And I can't manage what people do at home either. For example, I do a microneedle in a CO2 session. You go on a 1-week vacation to the Bahamas, or you're on the sun.
All that.
I can't guarantee my work because you just went and undid it. Right?
Two different things going on here with what she does and what you do, but almost the same thing, because you're in no control of what they do in their own house. So when you give them all the goodies and you say, look, I'm giving you everything from the shampoo to the brushes to all that stuff, and do the right things, even the silk pillowcases, even the bonnet things, and do all the right things at home, but they probably don't even do that. Then they come back to you and they say, well, you guaranteed your service.
But it's all your fault, right? Because nobody ever wants to point the finger at themselves.
Right.
It's always the other person's fault. And we're going through that right now with our weight loss program. A lot of our clients, not a lot. Some of them will come back and say, I didn't lose any weight this week.
That's because they're still eating bonbons.
And then we have to sit them down. Like, for the number one thing we do at that point is, okay, let's sit you down with a doctor to see what's going on, because it could be a metabolic thing that we haven't figured out by now. He does blood work before he puts them on the semaglutide, but it could be something beyond those panels. So he'll try to figure out why. And 99% of the time, it's because they haven't changed their behavior, right?
You didn't mention this, by the way. So you do also offer the service.
Yeah, we do offer. We do the weight loss, semaglutide, and tirzepatide. Yeah, we do both, and then that's upstairs. Downstairs, he does the pill, which is the phentermine. Some people can't afford the shot every single week. So if phentermine is a pill that's paid by, so that's insurance based.
I've heard of that.
To me, that didn't work because it made my heart race and it didn't allow me to sleep. And one thing about me is I love to sleep. I love my sleep. I can't not have 8 hours of sleep a night. So when it interfered with that, I didn't like it at all. And it changed my personality a little bit. It made me
irritable, right?
Yeah.
So I have a question. So I dabble in the peptide world a little bit. When you have clients coming in and some of them complain about they're not losing weight, and I guess your husband, he manages that. what are some? Can you give me like some kind of a storyline of one of your clients that come in and they say they're not losing weight and what they look like physically, their metabolic rate? Because I'm kind of curious with that because sometimes when like I'm aware when you start off taking semaglutide, which is Ozempic, or tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro, that the amount that you take might not be enough.
Yes. So a lot of people, the cost will be a hindrance to the amount they take. So eventually everybody will, taper off and then it'll stop working for them. So you have to up the dose. But all these injections are supposed to be a path for a healthier lifestyle overall. So if you don't have the healthier lifestyle, if you don't start it, it doesn't become a habit. Even if you come off the shots, you're gonna end up losing the weight. So a lot of the clients we have to coach into having a healthier lifestyle. So the metabolic things, I'd love to answer that question for you, but I'm not in the room with him when he has that conversation.
Right.
I stay out of it because that's beyond my my line.
Sure.
I could talk to you about me, about my metabolic things, because I have metabolic issues. I have PCOS, which causes my body not to handle carbs and sugars very well. So I have to be very conscious of the carbs I take and the medication. So I'm perpetually on metformin, even though I'm not diabetic, because my body can't handle sugar and carbs. And I'm on Ozempic. I'm actually on 2 doses. And
like twice a week?
Twice, yeah. And I struggle so much with my weight, even though I eat very healthy and I exercise, and I still struggle.
What is the milligrams, you don't mind me asking? Like how much are you
2?
taking?
Yeah, two full doses.
Twice a week?
I used to take 2 doses in the beginning of the week, and I would get a little nauseous, and then by the end of the week I was hungry. Okay. So now I've split them up.
Have you tried tirzepatide?
I like tirzepatide so much better.
Have you tried that?
No, I just stuck with only the semaglutide. I don't know. I guess I'm a creature of habit, but I can switch.
So I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's research out there that says that the tirzepatide actually helps out with the PCOS.
Okay.
Helps balance it out over the semaglutide.
Okay.
But that's something that you can
I'll look into that
on your own.
Yeah.
And then also you don't have to take. You're going to take it'll look like more, but it'll be less because the semaglutide it's harder on the body than what tirzepatide is. So you're taking I would imagine 4
milligrams a week.
So tirzepatide would probably be around like 8 milligrams for you a week, and then you can like So by the way, people do microdose it now because it helps out with other elements that are going on in the body from their blood pressure, like heart disease. There's different things studies that I've read about that it actually helps on with microdosing, because you're right, it does taper off, and then people start increasing, and then what they'll do is, even if you switch to, let's say you've been on semaglutide, if you switch to tirzepatide, it's almost like starting over again because you're trying a different medication. So it'll have a different effect on you. Semaglutide it's actually like one of the harshest ones.
Yeah, I like the Mounjaro way better than the Semi. When I switched from Mounjaro to Semi just to try it, I had debilitating heartburn. It would wake me up in the middle of the night. It when I was working out, I'd have to stop. It was like fire. He's like, maybe you have GERD. I'm like, maybe it's the semaglutide.
I didn't know that was one of the side effects. It was
so as soon as I stopped taking it, it just went away. So.
Maybe I'll try switch now, but I'm very conscious of the fact that I do have PCOS.
Sure, absolutely, 100%.
And it again, once you have it, you see in other people. So a lot of my clients actually have it, and trying to let them know. That's the other thing. Is like I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through. I know the side effects of PCOS, and it could be like a different range of different things. And my entire existence is trying to get those side effects away, like the facial hair.
Yeah, I hear it's like so painful too, having PCOS.
I mean, like my doctor would tell me, it's like a spectrum. Some people have a lot of the side effects, some people have none. Some people have a lot of metabolic issues, and some people have none. And it's just, it depends on where you fall on that spectrum.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not as bad as it gets, and I'm not as, there is still side effects that I experience, the facial hair, the laser hair move up every 5 years.
But that's why you have your med spa.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I chose the perfect profession.
Good on you.
I forever want to be young. I turn 44 next month. So,
who doesn't want to stay young,
yeah.
right? Like, and, like, I used to judge people in my 20s that people that smell all this money or injected their face with stuff to look a certain way until I hit 30 and I saw the line in between my forehead on a picture. I was on a ski lift with my sister Sabrina in Colorado, and I was like, what
you always
that?
remember that line.
What is that? Like, that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like, no.
No. Like, and you think about, like, I was actually thinking about this before I got here, like, how do I combat people who say that you're an industry that is based on taking people's insecurities, right?
You're capitalizing on people's insecurities.
But it's not, because if you look at, if you would have watched, the show, the woman that lived in Florida, I forgot the name of it.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Tiger King?
Not Tiger King.
I'm sorry.
Like that was
It popped up in my head.
it's just how the 50-year-olds back then look, how the 50-year-olds
Oh my gosh,
now,
I know.
right?
I know.
You look at how J-Lo looks or Halle Berry looks.
I know. It's not fair.
And it's just that's the world we live in now.
I
And
know.
that's what we
the
are.
pressure of social media and the photos and
And you don't have to live that, really. You don't. It's just, there is something for everybody, right? I respect when people want to be all natural and not do anything. I do respect that. But, I'm here for people that want to look younger, but not. So we have almost like a two-path in our spa. If you want to do everything natural, we do, like microneedling, PRP, CO2. That's not tox, that's not filler.
Right.
But we also have the tox and we have the filler. It depends on which path you want to take.
You could do both, too.
You could do both, too, because I do both.
yeah, I'm gonna get on I want to do I need to get in there and just get some facial stuff done.
Yeah.
So Tony was just telling me it's like a chick thing, like, because sometimes when you're telling me, hey, do you see this? And I'm like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. I'm like, you look beautiful. Like, I don't see it. So Tony can relate to me, because I'm just like,
well, he's not. Yeah, he did.
We're our own worst critic, right?
I get a bump on my face. I'm just like, just leave it alone. Just stop touching it. Don't just leave it alone. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not a thing, but.
Yeah.
You see it, just like, I have to get that.
Speaking of which, one of the things that I have to be so diligent about in the spa and so hypersensitive to is body dysmorphia.
I know.
I've had a few clients that had body dysmorphia, and it was not a fun experience because that was my first time experiencing that. It really is difficult to manage. And there's nothing you can do to make them happy. And that's the time where you actually have to say, no, we can't go further. We can't do any more. And sometimes you don't realize you're in that position until it's too late. And it was difficult getting out of those situations. But,
do you feel guilty sometimes?
For?
Like, if you,
turn people away?
Well, or if it gets too far. Or do you mean, what do you mean by it gets too far? Like, to the point that you're, injecting too much to make them happy? Or
yeah,
that's what I thought you meant.
So one of the clients that we did had body dysmorphia that was getting injections, and it was difficult to manage the situation because what she was seeing in the mirror
was not what we
were seeing.
Right.
And you couldn't even get her to look at the mirror. So she had some mental, some issues that she had to deal with. So that's the great thing about having a medical doctor. We deferred her to him, and he was able to handle it from a medical perspective. The other client I had, I actually stopped before we even went further because we were doing the body contouring, and at one point she actually said, I have body dysmorphia, and it was just like, cease and
You
desist.
you have to like
Cease
put
and
the brakes
desist
on.
I put the brakes on. I said, okay, well, we can't go any further until I get clearance from whatever medical professional you're seeing right now about this. So,
can we put that on like in the beginning stages on like, you know, when you're a waiver form? Can you?
Are you talking about in my industry?
I'm wondering, like in both
my
your
industry,
industries, as a diagnosis, like were you diagnosed with
body? Actually, I don't, but you know, sometimes the simplest things that you don't think about that you're like, now I'm thinking about, I'm like, why don't I?
Right.
So
but
why don't I
sometimes
have
people
it?
don't even know that they have body dysmorphia. Yeah, like.
But this woman actually did, and she disclosed it. And thank God she did, because you know the procedures we were doing were not exactly cheap. So it would have been, you know, not
She would have
in that
just kept going
situation,
and going and going
ongoing.
and going and going and going and going and going.
But the other woman, you know, we didn't know, and we should have known because she was even look at the mirror. So, but that, you know, we have to a lot of things that you have to handle in our industry, stuff like that. Like it's more complicated than most people think.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I used to have it, so.
You used to have it?
Oh, absolutely. I used to have a whole plethora of things back in the day, unfortunately.
But you were never diagnosed.
Honey, I was.
You were diagnosed.
Of body dysmorphia, that comes along with an eating disorder, unfortunately.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
See, yeah. I can see that.
So, but I don't have it anymore.
Okay.
I know I look good.
Of course you do.
Yeah, so I don't have that anymore.
Yeah, so one thing that we like to do as far as, you know, lifting up other people out there, especially locally in the area, in the industry, is, you know, having you tell everyone where to find you.
Okay. Talk about our services, but now you can't find me.
Yeah, we want everyone to know, people that are going to be checking this out, where they can find you at. So if you can give like your social
handle,
media, and all that good stuff.
Again, Cloud 17 Med Spa, we're located on Hamilton Street. I used to tell people we're located across the ER from St. Luke's on 17th, but now it's a mommy and baby unit. Our phone number is 610-686-7200, and Instagram is Cloud 17 Med Spa. Same with TikTok and Facebook. And there's a million ways to reach us, really, right? Mm-hmm. So DM, Instagram, social media, text, email, staff@cloud17medspa. If you have a hard time reaching us, then
there's an issue.
There's an issue. But you know, we reply back to all text messages and DMs. We do complimentary consultations, even with the physician, which honestly is unheard of because usually physicians require at least a deposit they keep if you don't move forward. But you know, we try to make it as easy as possible to come in. And I do give truly honest advice when it comes to the service because I have so much at my disposal. I tell people all the time, like, when you go to med spas, they're only going to offer you what they have in their toolbox, right? You need to go to a med spa that has a lot to offer you in their toolbox because then they can give you options. The other thing is, I tell people all the time that to solve an issue, because that's what we're in the industry for, to solve issues.
Right.
That you need about 3 different modalities, right? Like, for example, let's say you have high cholesterol, you go see your doctor, he's going to give you your medication. It's going to lower your cholesterol, but not as well as if you exercise and eat well. Right. So those are 3 different modalities to solve one problem. So let's say you come in with wrinkles, so the modalities would be, you know, microneedling, PRP, CO2, then maybe we get up to the toxin to put in there. So you need more than one, and you need to choose the spa that can offer you more than one way, because they're never going to tell you this is what's good for you. But with that sentiment, if I don't have something that would do well for you, I actually tell you, I think you need this, but I don't have it. Or I think this is surgical. I think you should see a surgeon about this. Let me get you I know my plastic surgeon, so I'll give you their phone number. So, you know, I'm very honest, and I've actually, believe it or not, it sounds counterintuitive, but I retain those clients even
No,
more.
they trust you because you're giving them honest feedback. So it's all about trust.
So when I tell you this is what you need, this is what's going to get you, to your destination, where you want to be. People believe me and they trust me because I actually would tell them that it's not going to it's not going to help you, or I tell them, hey, it's going to help you, but it's not going to get you to your destination alone, right? Because another part of my job is matching expectations with budgets.
Yeah.
So you can't have expectations up here and budget down here. We need to bring them.
Managing the expectations.
So we need to balance it. So if somebody would come in and say, I want to look 10 years younger, but this is my budget, I'm like, well, we either need to bring the budget up, or I could take you back 2 or 3 years with your budget, and we can work on that. And it depends on the personality, right? Some people tip their toes before they go in the pool a little at a time, and then they go in, and some people just walk up and jump in. So I have clients who will try a facial first or a little Botox first, and then they'll go to the big machines. And I have clients who just slap their credit card and go straight to the big machine. So it depends on the client. I don't judge. I'm the one going toe at a time.
Yeah.
And you have my younger sister who will just jump in. So, I respect all personalities and I work with all of it.
Cloud 17, right? So I know what 17 means. It's like 17th Street, Hamilton.
So
What's
we
the
are
Cloud mean?
we're between Cloud Street and 17th
Cloud
Street.
Street.
There's a
Cloud
Cloud
Street,
Street, yeah.
okay, Cloud
So
17.
it's Hamilton and then 17th, and then our back alley is Court, but this side over here is St. Cloud Street.
Sure.
So we call it Cloud 17 because then you can never not find us.
Right. It's like right there.
Right there.
Okay.
Cloud 17.
But I would have to give credit to my husband with that name. He came up with it.
Oh, nice.
So
Dr.
for everybody out
Hernandez.
there, don't forget to check out Cloud 17. And for all you ladies out there that want to look for one of the best hair extension
Extensions.
stylists in the
Yes.
area, don't forget about ExCoLounge.com, Meredith Irvin, ExCoLounge.com, and that's about it.
Okay.
Thank you, Maise,
Thank you
for
anytime.
joining
Yeah,
us
This
today.
was so enjoyable. I was so
good.
nervous.
I know. I always get a little nervous too.
But this was really enjoyable. Thank you.
good.
It really
of
was.
course. Awesome. Yay.
All right.
Thank you.